You've probably seen this channel's videos before, and if not, you will. One of the fastest growing comedy channels. But when watching them, something feels off.
This is life in late-stage capitalism.
Because despite what it seems, their videos are not sketch comedies. And I'm not just saying this because their jokes offend me. The problem is that these guys break every rule of sketch comedy. But the crazy part is that these guys are doing it on purpose. And their reason for this, as you will see, is potentially dangerous. Using their image as sketch comedians for something malicious. But who are these guys? This is Content Machine. Michael Mike Mazzatelli and Tyler John Perry, both 6'3" childhood friends. Despite their name and their whole aesthetic, these two guys grew the channel themselves.
Started to just make videos like back in 4th grade, and we just kind of never stopped.
With both having degrees in film, cinema, and video studies. And it shows, their videos are clean, high quality, with a production that feels a step above the rest. Comments showing adoration for their numerous costumes and locations. Their big break was what Europeans think America is like.
This is a day in the life of an American.
This video would define their style, intermixing both exaggerated and realistic depictions of America. Equal parts satire and documentary. Especially with the rise of AI, it's good to see these two guys build themselves up and making it big through comedy. Here's the problem. They're not a sketch comedy group. They may have started out as sketch comedy, but as they grow more popular, they have devolved into hate, masquerading as sketch comedy. It's a bold claim to make, but I have evidence to back this up. Now, from what I gathered, Content Machine makes 3 types of skits. Together, these 3 types of skits help Content Machine maintain their agenda. Now, let's go over the first type of skit, the that's so accurate / relatable. This type of comedy is like the bread and butter for many short creators nowadays. The Vine type humor, a little something for everyone. You know, non-offensive comedy skits like Day in the Life of a Toddler.
This is a day in the life of a toddler.
Look, here he is, having a mental breakdown like an adult, but he's a toddler. Ugh. As mentioned before, their content is high quality, so they're just not recording in their room with a towel on their head making silly expressions. For example, their skit, How to Be Midwestern, has them actually be in the Midwest. Wow. In fact, they have a lot of videos about the Midwest because probably they're from there, but these type of shorts are often just list stuff the person does. Like, they like this, they shop like this, often just shallow characterizations of nationalities. This humor is like the least offensive by far, and honestly, barely even funny, so why even make it? It's because it's super shareable. You know, have a Midwestern friend, isn't it just like you? Even so, you don't even have to do that, it's just, oh yeah, of course a Midwestern person would be like that, duh, but it's just schlop to turn off your brain for a minute. So what's my problem here exactly? They're just making relatable style content. Is that such a problem? Now, by itself, this type of content is not an issue. Just keep in mind the purpose of this type of content, non-offensive comedy skits that's made to be shared and liked by everyone. So let's go over the next type of skit then. The Women Be Crazy type skit. A defining feature of Content Machine is their endless supply of hot women. Boobies, 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 because duh, boobies in the thumbnails makes everyone want to click. Tobuscus. And it's a bit sad what happened to him. Toby Games used to be my hero. Intro to Darkness. But Content Machine, boobies. Content Machine is super progressive, hiring women in comedy, a typically male-dominated space. Now, minor issue I have is the fact that there's no credits for them. Not just Content Machine, but a common trend in shorts. Like, I gotta dig through the comments to find sauce. I don't know why women are signing up if their names are not available to find easily, but I guess the payday is good enough. Here's my problem. Women are often used as a punching bag for a lot of these skits, hence the term Women Be Crazy. Not to get all white knighty since it is women signing up for these skits. Like, who am I to say what they could joke or not joke about? It's okay for women to depict themselves as crazy obsessive girlfriends who play men like a fiddle. Shallow, stupid, hot, boobies, boob, boob. It's obviously an exaggeration, so why do I have a problem with it? And even if it's not an exaggeration, women really do be like that, so what? Ugh. So far, Content Machine produces relatable content as well as boobies. What's my issue here? If it was just this, I wouldn't even be making this video. But there is one more type of skit which ties it all together. The final type of skit, the satire and documentary. This is how Content Machine became so successful. But how do they delicately balance this fine line like the professional sketch comedians they are? They just have the skit and tell you the takeaway. They literally explain the joke, the number one sin of comedy.
So you see, judging a book by its cover is almost always the right thing to do.
For example, why you should never trust a stranger. Here we have the libtard, and we know he's a libtard because he says thank you to the other person for cucking me.
My wife had a blast.
And a normal guy, and we know he's a normal guy because he's wearing a white dress shirt like he's straight out of a clip art. Into homeless man, libtard says don't judge a book by its cover. Then of course he gets stabbed because he's a dumb stupid libtard, and the normal guy says it's okay to avoid homeless people because they look like shit. You know, that's the joke. See, you shouldn't judge people based on how they look. But then here, it's like, oh, that's actually the real thing. And if you don't follow this, you're gonna get stabbed by a comically large needle. And then you could combine this with the other two types of skits. Satire and commentary with Women Be Crazy. Take, for example, Dating Poor Men versus Rich Men. Establish their characters, outright telling you who they are. Then you have the woman, who's obviously gonna be in the wrong. Message being, either lower your standards or go back to the kitchen. Straight up.
You either get to have a successful career or a happy relationship. Choose wisely.
And then what if you combine it with the That's So Relatable one?
We're the perfect team.
Why girls have gay besties. Of course, hot women have gay best friends. But the real message is that, hey, did you hear about the Abbey?
Who's the Abbey special?
Now, the Abbey was what inspired Chapel Roan's Pink Pony Club. Real message though is that it has been hot controversy for drugging drinks, roofies.
Oh no! James got roofie!
Now, obviously I've never been there, but from what I see in this Reddit thread, it looks like a real problem. The real joke is that you can't really trust gay people, although half of it may be pointing to, yeah, this is a common occurrence in real life. Another one is pointing to, isn't this ridiculous? And another common trope is the dystopia. Bring up the future of dystopia, like we're heading towards an apocalypse. But before that is usually the present, and the present often entails transgender and all that. Recurring character Dr. Shipwinky.
Well, we'll just cut off your man parts and change your name.
A lot of the real messages often berate some type of group. And with the satire and documentary, you'll begin to see a lot of right-wing talking points. But I must admit, I don't think Content Machine is a right-wing secret organization. No. But it still bothers me. Why do they make all these skits? It wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that it's their personal beliefs, but personally, I don't buy it. Until I saw this short.
What if I told you we get paid to travel the world?
By being content creators on Facebook.
Yes. This short is the key to understanding everything. Content Machine primarily focuses on Facebook. Despite having more subscribers on YouTube and more followers on Instagram, they focus on Facebook because it's what gave them the most success. And when you look at it from this lens point, it all begins to make sense. Why they talk about all this stuff, why their videos are structured the way they are. It's because it's all orientated towards Facebook. Now, YouTube and TikTok have been kind of promoting this type of content too as well in recent years, scary enough, but Facebook has always been the home of this type of content. So you know what? Case closed, right? Facebook is home to right-wing talking points, they love boobies, and they love relatable content. Content Machine makes content for Facebook. I mean, it's in their fucking name, so... But it still didn't sit right with me. There's still two real guys trying to make good comedy somewhere in there. And yet, they became successful and kind of sold out in a way. I mean, when I look at their old YouTube comedy skits, it's kind of bad, but honestly, there's like a passion coming from it. And it's kind of invoking of like old Smosh. In fact, this whole video was not supposed to be about these guys. It was supposed to be me talking about comedy I liked. Good sketch comedy. Like Almost Friday TV, who is like one of the best YouTube comedy sketch groups right now. And then also Whitest Kids You Know. Like, there's so much to talk about. There's Key and Peele, and Smosh as aforementioned. Heck, I was even be talking about like King Bach and whatnot. There's also Churdleys for like short form content. But Content Machine bothered me because, I mean, they're like one of the most successful groups, but they're not comedy for all reasons listed previously. They kind of just mask themselves. And that's the dangerous part, because any criticism geared towards them is just you not understanding the joke. And it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, you know? It's like the real people know the real message, nudge and wink. And a lot of the real messages are dangerous points, like you shouldn't trust gay people, you shouldn't trust trans people, you shouldn't trust women, you shouldn't trust anybody who doesn't look, you know, you get the gist of it. In like a cunningly smart way, they've kind of shielded themselves. They have been deemed uncancelable for good reason. I mean, all three of these sketches work in harmony to make this protective barrier against criticism. You can't criticize them because they're just making short form relatable content. They're against women? Well, they hire a bunch of women too. How can they be right-wing propaganda if they have all this other stuff going on? And even if they are, they're just satire. It's just over-exaggeration. They don't really believe in this stuff. But I mean, if that's your takeaway message, then by all means, take it away. You know, that's the real sin of Content Machine. Sin. I'm making like these guys are the devil. They're not. They're not the devil. They're just two guys making comedy skits, and it kind of hurts in a way. Like, I'm not mad at them, although a little bit. It's just, I'm kind of mad at this is what we choose as the internet to praise. Like, these two guys didn't make it as actual sketch comedians because it's not what we as the internet appraise. Rather, we appraise their stuff now, which is dumb-witted comedy skits that need to tell you what the joke is. And a lot of it is not comedy, it's just, yeah, I agree with that one. You know, and that's not comedy to me. I genuinely wanted to just talk about what makes a good sketch comedy, but instead I just talked about two guys from the Midwest who once had a passion for comedy, but now are successful content creators. I mean, the joke was on me, I guess. What was I to expect more from a group called Content Machine?
You guys are incredibly passionate about just like making people laugh and just being creative.
Sometimes he's high and I'm low, and we try to meet in the middle, which is sometimes reality. You know, Tyler will be thinking of these crazy ideas. Like, I'm usually in awe, honestly. I'm usually like mouth agape, just like, oh my God, like this is the guy I met in the sandbox. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, two kids in a sandbox, you know what I'm saying?
Next time, I'll talk about another person who's gone down a deep rabbit hole, I guess. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.